stuff. I'll tell you who's jam-packed full of fantastic stuff, and that's Dr. Yui from Nutrog. He wants to tell... Oh, we were talking about this earlier. He's going to give us the secret about Gigantic. Yui, good morning.
Yeah, hi, Graham. Yeah, last week we spoke about that balanced nutrients for your plants, and when you're buying fertilizer, you get that information on the pack. Over in Gigantic, we have a few secret ingredients that help your plants along. So these are inputs that are not part of the nutrient list. So in order to understand what's in Gigantic, we have to look at how we make our soil probiotic Go-Go juice. So in Go-Go juice, we have a liquid aerobic fermentation system which breaks down the inputs over a period of about 6 weeks. So what we have in Go-Go juice is those three different kelps. They're humates, lucamil, from which we extract plant growth factor tricontinol, plus we have some of that very fine sift compost in there. And after about 5 weeks of brewing, we need to filter out some of the coarser material which hasn't broken down 100%. So that's things like bits of kelp, lucin, and even some of the humates. And so this filtrate, you effectively have a concentrate of many of the benefits of the inputs in Go-Go juice.
Right, okay. Now, I understand that. So Go-Go juice is jam-packed full of goodies. So what happens to this concentrated filtrate?
Well, it becomes the secret ingredient in Gigantic. So
really?
Gigantic is in essence a product that has at its heart composted chicken litter,
yep.
And then it's further chemically boosted. So, we increase the levels of nitrogen, potassium, phosphate, iron as well, and manganese. And as it stands, it's already a complete fertilizer. But because we mix in this filtrate from Go-Go juice, you get that added benefit of the seaweed, the humates, the plant growth factors. But perhaps just as important are many of the bacteria and fungi that are found in Go-Go juice end up in Gigantic. So when I use Gigantic, I can certainly see a major effect. And I would say with those added benefits, besides the great nutrient balance, it's really very difficult to beat.
Well, I said to a listener this morning, feeding their fruit trees, I said, if you use Gigantic, it's got all the nutrients and a lot of other stuff. And I can see the other stuff is pretty cool. It's a waste product from Go-Go juice, and it's got all the brew in there. So how would you use the Gigantic now?
Well, we know that spring is just around the corner. You spoke to that man in Balmain just then.
Yep.
So, my fruit trees, even in Adelaide, are starting to put out the flowers. My vegetable patch is ready to be dug over in the next 4 weeks or so. So, ready for that spring planting. And, obviously in Sydney and further north, they're a little ahead with the warmth. So now is an ideal time to put out Gigantic because it has that organic base. It will release those nutrients at a rate that allows the plants to take them up. We always have to remember that we have to match our fertilizer or nutrient availability with the plant's needs and uptake ability. So in very cold weather, the uptake is obviously much slower, and when it gets warmer, it increases. So interestingly, the microbes that metabolize Go-Go juice, they're also dependent on temperature. And as such, they really match the plants. So thereby they release nutrients in a measured manner from Gigantic.
Isn't that interesting? So but of course the last thing you want is to be wasting a really high-end fertilizer like Gigantic when it's really cold. Better to wait just before spring and give your plants and the garden and the soil a real boost. I think you've let the cat out of the bag as to why Gigantic is such a fantastic product. I didn't know that there was sort of a byproduct from Go-Go juice was in there as well. Now, of course, in a few weeks' time, it's really about thinking spring fertilising. So don't leave it too late, especially for your fruit trees. Well, we've had a lot of fruit trees this morning on the program. Gigantic is the product to use for all your fruit trees. It's available from Bunnings, and you'll get Gigantic at all the other hardware outlets and, of course, at all good garden centres. Yui, take care. Can I ask you one question without notice?
Yes, go ahead.
We had a call during the week about Hooflung dung.
Mm-hmm.
It's weed-free, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's completely weed-free because it's made basically from the composted chicken litter. So there's no weeds in the chicken litter because two things happen. One is it gets composted at a high temperature, so any residual, say, seeds would be destroyed, but also because, it never sees really the outside world per se. It's not
exactly
collected from a paddock or something like that.
Exactly.
So yes, it is weed-free.
There you go. Listener, one of our listeners, one of our garden club members really took one of my staff to task, and I said, no, it's weed-free. Yui said that a couple of weeks ago on the show. Yui, have a good weekend, champion.
It does improve the soil to such a manner that perhaps weeds love it as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that's what's happening. Thank you, mate. All the best.
No worries. Cheers, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's Dr. Yui Strower, and takes us into the laboratory and a few behind-the-scenes secrets.
Traffic. Join Jim Wilson for Drive.